Hello everyone, today I'm here to take a look at Squadro, which is a relatively new two-player abstract strategy game. Thinking along the lines of, chess, checkers, that style of game, that old school moving wooden components on a board abstract strategy style game, getting things across the board and then back again. Well, let's jump in, see exactly how it plays, and then I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it. So you're going to take everything out of the box, and that is going to give you basically this little bag with the wooden tokens in. These are going to be your player pieces. They are in one of these two colours, and they are shaped like so. Basically, you know this is the front end. You can place it down like that. And then if we just move the board here, you're going to be using the shaped bottom to add yours along one of the two sides with the line, basically. The aim of the game is to get 4 of your pieces across the board, turned around and back into sort of a finished position like this. If you do that first, you win the game. Randomly determining a start player, you'll then go back and forth between the two colours, moving one piece at a time. Each piece has a predetermined number it can move. 1 dot, 1 movement, 3 dots, 3 movement, in terms of how far it can go across the board at once. They range between 1 and 3, and some do have 2. Note that when a piece has reached the other end, its movement value will change, effectively inverting from 1 to 3, or if it's 2, remaining as 2. On a turn, you will pick one of your pieces and move it as far as it is travelling in that direction. So in this case, this is moving 3. Now, this is an unobstructed route, so that is absolutely fine. When it comes to jumping over 1 or more pieces, that will end your turn. You will, however, jump over them. So this piece here has 2 movement. So it would move 1 and then 2. If it had more, it wouldn't go any further, and also because it's reached the end, it won't go any further. In this case, it just spins around and is then basically ready for moving on another turn in the future. Now, the jumped over ones go back to wherever they were travelling from. So in this case, they would both be going back to their original position. If, however, one of these had got to this side already, so was travelling in this direction, so we had it like this piece would have jumped over, turned around and ended its movement at the end, as well as because it's jumped over something, this piece would come back to here, and this piece would come back to here. So, on a turn, move a piece. If it jumps over something, it's ending its turn after that, but sending it back to where it was coming from, and when it gets to the end, it will also stop, turn around, and be ready to travel backwards with a different movement value based on the dots for future turns. First to 4 back wins, and that is how you play Squadro. So just to be completely transparent, I was sent the game to review, but that doesn't change my thoughts or how the game plays. As you see though, it is a very simple game to play. You are, on a turn, moving a piece depending on the number of dots that it's travelling from. It's a very simple concept, and actually after 1 or 2 turns, everyone is really seeing exactly how the game works. Then you get into the very much back and forth chess-like sort of approach of, if I move there, it's opening this opportunity up for you. You can jump me and send me back. So maybe I don't want to move there quite yet. And there gets points in times where it's, I have to move this piece. Maybe you'll take me, but then I can take you back and stuff like that. So it's a very simple game to play and a very simple game to teach. And that means that actually you can put the game down and play it very quickly. You will, however, need to let sort of a new player catch up a little bit, because like games like this, there is a bit of a, I understand how the game plays, and therefore you'll have an advantage. You do find that with this. If you have played a few games and you're teaching someone new, they will maybe make that what is almost considered a silly mistake once you've seen why it's a silly mistake. Now, you can do 2 things here. You can teach it you use it as a teaching game and be like, okay, if you've made that move, I'll do this, and take your like effectively taking your piece, sending it back, you probably don't want to do that. They can then decide, all right, I'll take that back, or be like, I'm learning, I've made a mistake, we'll just let it happen. You know, as long as you're open and willing to do that, I don't think you'll have too many problems. And then after a game, they'll probably have seen why that would have been a silly mistake. And then from game 2, 3 onwards, it's much more competitive again. Now, I really like the actual sort of look and feel of the game here. You know, you are moving these pieces, which subtly, or well, not too subtly, but kind of subtly have the direction they're facing through this design. I really like that. I find, you know, they sit nice and easily. I was a bit worried that they were going to sort of knock over, but, you know, you have to give it a proper flick, bit of a nudge, it's not going anywhere. You know, you can jump over, you know clearly the routes, so the design of it is really nice. There is one confusing part though. You look at the box and then the board. I, as a few others, and I trialed this just to see what people's reactions were. They saw the box and then I opened it and they thought it was almost, was this something different? Was it black on one side, white on the other? No, the board in the actual game is this black colour. I think it looks quite nice, quite a nice, sleek, still stunning design. Some people preferred it in white, which is what it is on the box cover. Does seem like a bit of an odd decision because there is around the edge and on the back there is the black board shown, but then the whiteboard look is on the front, and that's not what you're getting. Just seems a bit of an odd decision there. I get it, it's a white box, it keeps that sort of clean look, but there's a bit of then a disconnect. I personally don't mind. I wouldn't have minded if it was white or black. I think some people may be coming into it with a preconception of it's going to be a whiteboard, were then surprised that it wasn't. Bit of an odd one, but I think it still looks pretty stunning, to be honest. Is this the sort of game that's going to keep you coming back for more? Well, I think the best way of answering this is when I have played it after that teaching game, and normally at the end of that teaching game, people wanted to play again. It maybe isn't the sort of game that you want to play, you know, 5 times in a row, but easily doing like a best of 3 when it comes to the table, that's normally what sort of happens. You play one game and you're like, oh, I want to go again. You play like your best of 3 and then you put it away and then it will come back out again. To be honest, there's not too many games apart from really short, sharp, fun-driven like party games that I'll just play over and over again. So I don't think this is necessarily a negative against the game there, that I wouldn't play it 5 times in a row. But I want to play it to get like that best of 3. I want to, even if I win, it's like, okay, I've won, shall we go again? And I'm very happy to do that with this. It's obviously, it's a looker in terms of stark colours, contrast, and quite a clean look. There's no, obviously, theme here. It's an abstract strategy game. You know what you're getting into sort of when you've got that. It's not going to be wowing you with card art or anything, but it's still quite a nice looker. Looking at the things on the side of the box, this is 8+, and I think that probably is about right if you're teaching a young child something like chess or checkers. They're probably going to be absolutely fine with this, and that's probably a sort of rough age that they might be semi-interested in doing that. Obviously, it's a 2-player only game. You could maybe do 2 teams, but I wouldn't advise it. And in 20 minutes. Now, 20 minutes is maybe the part that isn't quite right. There should be maybe a range. This game can be over in under 10 minutes, and it will maybe creep up to that 20 minutes. I think that is more of an upper limit if you really get bogged down in it. Once you've cracked the puzzle, almost, there is very much, when you've got that one-on-one, it is very, because obviously it's a one-on-one game, it's very much, okay, I can't move there, I can't move there. If I move that one, it's safe. But that one's not safe. And it does slow down a little bit. Sometimes I find games like this speed up when you start to learn it, but this I think slows down because you start to realise what you're setting your opponent up for. For better or worse, I think maybe it gets almost more analysis paralysis as the game goes on. Once you've seen what can happen, you start to really calculate each of the moves. Sort of circumventing that is the fact that you only have 5 pieces. You're only going through 5 movements and some potential movements from your opponent, and it normally leads down to these 2 are safe, these ones I don't want to touch. So which is the best out of like these 2, maybe 3 options? You're not normally going to be thinking out of the 5, which am I moving, apart from at the very start of the game. Normally it's then, don't want to touch that one yet, because that's blocking that, that opponent's piece isn't going to move there because I could jump it easily. Or I don't want to move that because then my opponent could jump it easily. So normally you're only working out a few options, but there is still that bit of working it out and puzzle. And I think a lot of people will like that puzzle, but it will be that group of people that like abstract strategy games with that puzzle that will enjoy this. As it sometimes maybe your common standard gamer, when it starts to slow down and really go, oh, I couldn't move that, some people might be like, oh, I'll just move this piece, it doesn't really matter. And they will lose because the other person is thinking it out. So I think that is who it's really aimed for. Really nice design. I'd actually hopefully get to check out some of the rest of the series, because actually this has made me really enjoy abstract strategies with a bit of a difference, and there is a whole range that Squadro is in. So maybe you'll see more of them on the channel in the near future. But otherwise, if you like abstract strategy games, well, this is certainly one to check out, and maybe the whole series of them is too. Anyway, until next time, check out other news, reviews and such on the channel. There's loads of games, and there might be even some boxes around here to click for other reviews that have been going up recently. Until next time, have a great day gaming, and I'm Oliver East signing out.